And it's up and go here on the bridge, 99 FM. What's up, Shellz?
Yeah, good morning, Bridge Nation. I know y'all miss me. I'm there, man. You're there. You know your boy Shellz after reach. I'm good, Richie. How are you going?
Yeah, we're there, man. It's all good. What you say? One traffic light.
One
malfunction.
traffic light. Not malfunction. It's working quite well. Well, not well enough. Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, you reach, and that's the important thing.
Yes, sir.
What's coming up today?
Well, we have a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Isn't that right, JoJo? Thanks for joining us.
Right. So, it's a full morning as usual. Good morning, Bridge Nation. At 8 a.m., we have Dr. Daniel Thomas, medical officer at the Kingston Public Hospital in the Psychiatry Department. Mm-hmm. He'll be talking to us about the situation with mentally ill persons, attacking persons in public. The Daily Harris shared a tweet recently of a young lady that was, being chased by a mentally ill man. Naked, and he would not stop until a JUTC bus driver saw what was happening, opened the door, and she ran in. That's when the chase stopped. So we want to talk about how we can protect the mentally ill and protect ourselves from them while in a public space.
A student from UTech was downtown Kingston some time ago and standing at the bus stop, and somebody came up behind her and covered her eyes.
Oh my God.
And she's like, "Who's this?" Person says, "Make a guess." "Oh, Paul?" "No." "Guess again." "Michael?" "No." "Guess again." And she was there for maybe close to 5-6 minutes, and this man would not let her go. It was
so where was everybody else?
Man of unsound mind, and eventually a person started to make some noise and to sort of attack him.
Yeah.
And that is how he pulled away from her.
That's just crazy,
So
man.
it is a serious problem.
So it's definitely a conversation to
Yeah,
be
8 o'clock, right?
At 8
Looking
a.m.
forward to that.
Right,
Sure.
at 8:30. Of course, we have our News 360. 9:35 a.m. we have Man Chat. We continue the discussion. The topic of the roles and responsibility of men in our society. We have Pastor Damian Scarlett, who is an assistant pastor and youth leader and mentor at the Hope Gospel Assembly Church. Right, and at 10 a.m. we have Mary Issacs, chair of the JARIA Honor Awards Committee, who will be talking to us more about the awards coming up. Nice. And at 10:15, of course, constitutionally speaking,
with our friends from the OPD.
That's right.
There are a few things in between all of that, right?
Of course, Bridge Nation, you don't know, so you can't afford to up and go when give you something for enjoying yourself in the morning zine. So we have Pet Peeve coming out at 7:46, sorry. So this is how we share things what bother we in the morning. We know it go early morning when you step in at work, somebody gonna bother you. So tune in 7:46 and say we share the same sentiment scene. We also have the proverb of the day before that, sorry. So that's 7:43, then Pet Peeve 7:46. And also for the health conscious people, we have For the Love of Health at 8:20. And my favorite one, people, belly upon a budget of Ford, Yeah, man, that's 8:23, sorry. And of course, try win my basket. The secret sound game coming your way at 9:30. So yeah, it's a good vibe, Richie. Looking forward to it.
Most definitely. Thank you very much, guys. It's 14 and a half minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Up and go on the bridge, 99 FM. It's now time for
What the Fact,
which means WTF. All right, let's get it started. What's up this morning?
Well, you just said we were stretching time. Well, speaking of stretching, this is a fact about the tallest man in the world.
Oh, really?
So the tallest man in the world ever. Let me just say that, British Nation. The tallest man ever. His name was Robert Wadlow. Now measuring in at 8 feet and 11.1 inches from head to toe, Robert Wadlow was the tallest man to have ever lived. Even today's contenders for the title of the world's tallest person don't come anywhere near this great height. In fact, Sultan Kosen, the tallest living man today, would stand 8 inches shorter than Wadlow.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Let's tell them a little bit more about this man. He was born on the 22nd of February in the year 1918. Wadlow showed great growth soon after birth. In fact, his elementary school had to make a special desk to accommodate his size, and by age 8, he stood taller than his own father, who was quite tall himself, standing at 6 feet tall. Now, when Wadlow joined the Boy Scouts at age 13, he had grown to stand 7 feet 4 inches tall, and his uniform required, are you ready for this? 14 yards of fabric to make.
Oh, wow,
Can I tell you some more?
Yeah, man.
Featured in Robert Ripley's cartoon in 1926 and 1929, Wadlow became known as the Alton Giant for his hometown of Alton in Illinois in the United States of America. He was 8 feet 4 inches when he graduated high school and soon toured the United States with the Ringling Brothers Circus. And he had a great time, we understand, doing that. Unfortunately, Robert Wadlow died at the age of 20. He was 20 years old when he eventually passed. Tall man.
Look, put him up on the stream today.
He was on the screen?
Yeah, put him
I
back
love
up
to
on
see.
it.
Oh,
Watch him
Lord. That
Yo.
looks like he might be standing beside his dad.
I'm wondering what age that was.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we were to get him in for a studio interview here?
Now go where?
Whoa! Look at that.
Oh,
That must be the tallest and the
that's
shortest men in the world in a pic.
I wonder if that's Sultan Kosen.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I wonder what size shoes Wadlow wore.
I'm sure the women would be impressed.
My goodness. Most people actually reach their peak height between 18 and 20 years of age, even though they continue to develop in other ways beyond that. So he died basically when he would have reached his possibly his peak height.
Yeah.
8 feet 11.1 inches. My God. That tall, you know?
Very
That's
tall.
very tall.
Passed away very young, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
passed away young.
I wonder what caused that.
See the shoes
growth.
there?
That's his shoe.
That's a close-up of his shoes. That looks like about 20.
Wow.
That looks like a size
Richie,
18 or
Richie,
20 or
that
something
look
like that.
About 25.
25. All right. Rest in peace,
Yes, sir. Mr.
Robert Wadlow.
Yes, sir.
That was
WTF?
What's the Fact? Update time.
Good morning, Bridge Nation. It's the girl Queen JoJo. Welcome to another update here on Up and Go. Sizzler ready to put on a show for fans at Reggae Sumfest 2022. Shellings. Sizzler is ready to burn some fire at this year's Reggae Sumfest. He's one of the artists that dominated in the 90s and 2000s. With his conscious dancehall brand, Sizzler Kalanji is set to bring the same fire from that era come July, right? It is expected to take the stage this year at Reggae Sumfest, which is carded for July 20 to 23 at St. Catherine Hall Entertainment Center in Montego Bay, St. James. So we can just expect, it's obvious. It is confirmed.
All
He's
right.
going to be at some fest. Fire
right.
shall blaze at some fest. So
Fire on the whole of them.
all of them. So excitement.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm happy that he's going to be on, and I don't think I'm going to be missing that.
Hey.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to that one.
Yeah.
Well, he did what he had to do. He was
Yes.
live on stage and he says, Mr. Bogdanovich,
Yeah, man.
am I being booked for something, sir?
That's what you want.
So here it is. He's confirmed. All right.
Yeah, man, give thanks. We'll stick it with entertainment. I don't know if you guys saw it on the internet, on social media, but Shensia drop another freestyle, you know, and tell you, say, here you boy, freestyle-ish. You know, it was good. I was, again, very impressed. So, yeah, she dropped a, you know, she represented Kingston very well, too, in a freestyle over Lauryn Hill's doo-wop. That must have been pretty, you know, pressure-filled situation, because Lauryn Hill feared him.
Sure.
But anyway, she did very well. You know, Shensia was in full Kingston bad girl mode in her recent freestyle in celebration of International Women's Day. The instrumental for Lauryn Hill's doo-wop, That Thing, stood no chance against the latest freestyle from Shensia, which she dropped after she wrapped up an energetic and informative interview with Just Incredible and DJ Sourmilk of Power 106's LA Leakers. Now, the freestyle was shared by Power 106 on Power 106's YouTube on International Women's Day, March 8th. And whether it was intentional or not, the freestyle continues to show that Shensia can jig with the big boys if and when she wants to. Shensia represented big for Kingston, you know. Remember that, she cruising over the 1998 hit track popularized by Lauryn Hill with an immaculate flow. She tops off the rendition at a part of the Catch Me Still, you know. She topped off the rendition with some very nice vocals, man, I tell you. Ooh. The 25-year-old had previously shown off her freestyle skills as early as 2017 when she linked up with BBC's Toddler T for a special cypher with the new school of dancehall and reggae MCs from Jamaica. At the start of 2021, Shensia proved that she still had the art down pat when she had a hot number over the popular Don't Rush beat. Months later, she was hanging with Funkmaster Flex, where she used Skilly Bang's Crocodile Teeth rhythm to her advantage. So, Shensia, you know what's interesting, my side? for somebody who say, I put on dancehall for a little.
It is.
When it comes to our freestyle, it makes you trend certain way.
Right. I don't think that was a freestyle though. I think that was one of her songs that was placed that she did
over the beat.
Over the beat,
hey.
if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, but when she sang though.
But it was.
Let me tell you something, man. When she went, especially when she went into the fast rap.
Yeah.
It was awesome, and the clarity that she was able to deliver that at that speed.
Yes, that was
phenomenal,
good.
and I think she's going to get a lot of props for that performance.
Yeah,
all right, the Grammys continue to generate controversy. Of course, it's going to be staged. The new date is April 3, and already people like Nicki Minaj and Joe Budden and many others, including many Nigerians, are saying, "How come?" WizKid's Essence is not in the running for Song of the Year. They have actually gone ahead and named it as the Song of the Year.
Yeah.
And Nicki Minaj added her voice to it recently, and several other well-known personalities in the music industry. Thousands and thousands of Nigerians and even Americans are also saying, hey, how come? So it's a lot of controversy surrounding that. It's a big song, Essence.
Yes.
And I think it is deserving to at least be there in the running.
Recognize,
and it seems unfortunate that that would be pretty much an oversight.
Oh, boy. Oversight.
More controversy as far as the Grammys are concerned. But guess what? We're going to make sure that we play you that song momentarily. Just to say, that was...
Update.
Do it again tomorrow morning at 7:30.
JoJo, you ready to educate us?
For Proverb of the Day, good morning, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Rainford, could you play that for me, please?
Monkey know which tree to climb.
One more time.
Monkey know which tree to climb.
Monkey know which tree to climb.
It never said fig line. So I'm thinking already about the origin.
Yeah.
So this one is also from Trinidad. This is a Trinidad Trinidad proverb, and it means people know exactly who to manipulate and who to take advantage of.
Oh, okay.
So monkey
That's where they
know
went with it.
which tree to climb. What were you thinking?
I don't know why I was feeling the same vibe from Small Axe, Big Tree. That's what I was thinking. Sorry. Yeah,
Monkey know which tree to climb.
Isn't it?
People know exactly who to manipulate and who to take advantage of.
Richie,
Yeah, it works.
it works, but
Yeah.
with
No, but man said it could have worked the other way too. Like, hey, monkey know which tree for climbing, the ladies.
We're going to move on to pet peeves. We're heading right into pet peeves now. Pet peeves are things that others do that you may find annoying, irritating, or even upsetting. Today's pet peeve comes from our very own Cavell.
To the Up and Go family and the whole Bridge crew, Bridge Nation. My pet peeve this morning is people were too fast. We can't take people were too fast. That annoy me. My granny used to tell me, say, people were fast always get joking at them eye. And trust me, as some feel like for us joke out some people eye.
Wow.
Yeah. My pet peeve that fast people.
Yeah.
And by the way, that has nothing to do with Usain Bolt or Shelley Fraser Price or Elaine Thompson.
Inquisitive.
She's talking about some other type of fast people.
Inquisitive people.
Inquisitive people who love people business.
Wow.
Yeah, she's telling it like it is. OMG.
But, to tell you the truth, I have to big up the fast people them still, cause them, they're the storytellers of our society. Yeah, so I'm saying.
No, when them start tell some stories, though, you know.
You're afraid of them, because some of the story them that add up, But please do not resort
social
to
media.
do not resort to violence.
Yeah, don't
do
joke
not
out
joke out anybody eye. But thank you so much, Cavell, for sharing that.
Cavell, thank you. So we have been telling you that our guest at this time will be a medical doctor. In fact, he's in the Psychiatry Department at the Kingston Public Hospital, and he's a medical officer, Dr. Daniel Thomas. And there are two incidents that came to national attention fairly recently. One where a police officer lost his life sometime last year, actually. It is said that he was attacked by a man of unsound mind. And recently, another incident of a woman being chased by a man of unsound mind in Halfway Tree. Fortunately for her, a JUTC bus driver picked up what was going on and was able to open the door to the bus he was driving to let her in and then close the door behind her to avoid her being really attacked by this person. In the discussion with the doctor, we want to be looking at psychosis, which is a mental health condition that manifests as hallucinations, erratic social behavior, and delusions, and other disorders such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and severe depression. Even anxiety, I suspect, will form a part of our discussion with Dr. Daniel Thomas. Good morning, Doc. Welcome to Up and Go. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing well.
Wonderful. Great having you, and especially at this time when we have some topical issues that I'm sure that you can address. How big a problem is psychosis in our society?
Well, approximately 1% of the population actually has a particular, something that would fall under the category of psychosis, which is schizophrenia. So it's, a fairly large issue. A number of persons fall into that category, and from time to time, if persons are not taking their medications and fail to continue their follow-up at their nearest health center or their private psychiatrist, then they may have episodes. And that's kind of where the family comes in. The family really depends on the family, which is the social side of the discussion, where the family is the one that really needs to be there to ensure that they get the medication and carry them to their clinic.
You use the term episodes, and how do these episodes manifest themselves?
Right, so for something like schizophrenia, as you just mentioned briefly, we're talking about someone who may be believing things that are not so. So we talk about persecutor delusions, feeling like persons are attacking them, feeling like persons are trying to poison them so they might stop eating, or it might be overt because they feel like they're going to be attacked, they start attacking people. So you have grandiose delusions as well. They feel like they have special powers. They might say that they are God or they are the Don or things like that. And then other than delusions, you have hallucinations that can be any of the five senses. They can feel or taste or see or hear things that are not real. Like no one else can see or hear those things or taste or smell those things. Those are the different categories of hallucinations. Then you have disorganized behavior, the strict behavior, doing things that persons can't really explain why they would be doing it. For example, some patients that we have had stare up into the sky, they are glaring at the sun. Other patients wear wet clothes. So just disorganized behavior and then disorganized speech. You try and talk to them and you can't understand anything that they're saying. They might start on topic and then they go and veer off on a tangent, or they might just be saying things that have nothing to do at all with what you're saying. So you ask them, how are you today? And they're talking about flowers. You understand? So there are a number of different manifestations of schizophrenia and psychosis.
Well, okay, thanks for that, Doc. Now, Dr. Thomas, Shellz here, morning again.
Yeah, man.
The situation, we know a lot of situations that happen in the public, people having to experience unfortunate situations like this. We heard the situation with the young woman chased by a mentally ill individual and the police officer who unfortunately lost his life, due to someone of unsound mind. But in the streets now, Doc, I'm going to be real with you. How can people, respond, when they see someone behaving, in an unsound manner, like, experiencing a violent outbreak like that? How can somebody respond?
Well, in the moment, there are actually a number of things that you can do. All right. You should not engage unless you really feel like you have some amount of training, or also it's a life or death situation. Right. The ideal is that you call the emergency psychiatry number, and that is 888-639-5433. All right. That number, someone will be able to help to guide you to the relevant persons, and you essentially lodge a complaint, and there are community mental health psychiatry teams that actually go out into the community. So those two instances that you mentioned, there are actually many more cases that happen on a regular basis Every day at our hospitals, there are patients coming in with psychotic episodes, and some of them are violent, and community members come together and say, look, we have to intervene, we have to restrain them somehow and carry them to the hospital, carry them to Bellevue or their nearest hospital where they can get the proper medication. So the important thing, though, is that from early out that there's intervention. It becomes very difficult when it's at the stage where the person is walking around with a machete or a ratchet, and we want to intervene at that point. But let's try and hit it earlier. When you realize that something is off, if they're in your community, talk to the family member. Try and set up a plan that when they're just talking strange or doing strange things, that you get them the care early so you can prevent it from escalating. Yeah. The police can also be called, actually, and the police has helped in many situations to bring persons in for medical assistance. So there are a couple of things that you can do, but the important thing is prevention.
Okay. I think I've heard, though, Doc, that very often the police are saying that they're helpless if the person does not, attack and injure an individual. So sometimes, even although one might be seeing the behavior, I've heard of instances where the police are somewhat reluctant to take that person into the required facility. Is that still a problem in our society?
Certainly, we have also heard of cases like that where the police seem to be reluctant, feeling like they're not adequately trained. And so there is a need for more training and equipping of our police department. We know that they're under a lot of strain already, but this is a real issue. And the police does have the ability to intervene, even though they might not feel very confident or they may feel overwhelmed with other cases. In that case, the psychiatry, the community outpatient mental health team, they're the ones that could also help. But then when they turn up on their weapons, they also feel helpless. You understand? Because if their weapons, it would really be something for the police to intervene. So there are some loopholes that need to be tightened. But I really want to commend the Ministry of Education with the system that they have put in place and the kind of work that is being done. We're talking about thousands of persons being treated per year. If you think about just Kingston alone, KPH and Bellevue Hospital, so for instance, last year, we admitted over 1,200 patients, psychiatry patients, the majority of which would be psychotic patients who, struggle with schizophrenia or other mental health issues that require inpatient care. So a whole lot of work is already being done, and I applaud that work that's happening all across the nation. Unfortunately, there are these few instances that slip through and escalate to the point where the media is involved and the public is involved. But a lot of work is being done, but we need more training for the police. We need more community mental health teams and also more psychiatric nursing assistants that can serve at the hospitals as well as at the community clinics. Because when persons are brought now to the clinics, that is another point of early intervention, where if the requisite systems are in place, that they can get care. And that is happening, but we definitely can do more.
I cited an example earlier this morning of a young student from one of the universities here in Kingston who was downtown awaiting her bus, and someone came up from behind and put both hands over her eyes and had her playing a guessing game for quite a few minutes until it became unbearable and persons came to her rescue. It turned out to be a man of unsound mind. I want to ask you, Doc, how can persons out there in the public spaces really protect themselves, from persons of unsound mind? What suggestions will you share with us this morning?
I did hear about that case, and that's a very interesting case. A number of times they're not violent. The only ones that would come to me. You hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, the only ones that the media may catch wind of would be the violent cases, but many times patients who are of unsound mind are not really violent. But there are ways that you can protect yourself. As I said, you can call the police, you can call the psychiatry, the emergency number, and then you can actually educate yourself on de-escalation techniques. So if you're in a situation where somebody is coming at you that they're of unsound mind. There's a particular way that you hold your hands, kind of with open palms to the ground, and kind of just listen a bit to what they're saying. They might be saying that they're becoming agitated because they feel that persons are after them. You can let them know that help is on the way. Don't worry about it. So there are de-escalation techniques. I encourage persons to YouTube that kind of thing, a way to kind of take it down a notch in the situation, even though you're not trained. That's like a first aid type situation. That works a lot because as doctors, we face the same patient. And so the medical staff, the nursing staff, the psychiatric nurses, as well as the RNs who are trained in psychiatry, have to learn these de-escalation techniques because they come very much in handy. And many times, persons who are psychotic and seem to be violent in one moment can actually flip because they're psychotic. So it's not necessarily that they're going to remain violent 100%. But there are things that can help to tone it down so that it can buy more time for the persons who are trained to intervene. And many times you may even be able to lead them to the family member who can carry them to the community clinic so that they can get care.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we also mention that persons should not go around trying to tease them or as some would say, rile them up. Because,
definitely.
Yeah, because that can have some terrible ending, eh? Doc?
Definitely. As a society, we need to mature a bit. A number of persons struggle, and I think one of the most interesting, scariest things for me, working in the Psychiatry Department for about 3 years now, is that you see many different socioeconomic background, persons who think would have money, or they may be poor, or any light skin tone or dark skin tone, persons of every walk of life, university level, in their professions at work, working at different institutions of noble standing, have mental issues. And so it could happen to any one of us.
Yes.
Some persons, they just start hitting the head, and strange behavior starts from that point. So we really have to be more caring, and we have to look out and not try and make situations worse.
Yes.
We need to be a society that doesn't offer them weed and offer them alcohol and things that can escalate situations as well. We want to protect them, allow them to get care so that we can have safer society.
Doc, we thank you so very much. And the important point you just made is that this is something that could happen to any one of us. And so we have to know what we're doing. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Thomas. All the information you shared this morning we found to be useful. We wish you a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, too.
All right. There you have it. A chat there with a medical officer at the Kingston Public Hospital in the Psychiatry Department. That was Dr. Daniel Thomas. Have you ever had an episode? Oh, sorry, not an episode. an incident with?
I like the fact that you brought up the police. Being hesitant, with their response, because I had a very close friend. He experienced an episode and started attacking myself and my friends. We were locked in the house, but he was banging on the grill, and we called the police because he's bigger than us. So whenever I want to,
get into a physical kind of situation.
I would call the officers, and what they said was unless he attacks someone, we can't respond.
I find
that was what they said. I was like, what?
I have a problem with that, to be honest with you. Because if you're seeing that kind of behavior, you should be able to make a call and get some help.
Yeah.
Mad Mackie actually attacked me as a young boy.
Okay.
Because she was having a problem with my entire family, it seemed. And there was an ad on the radio back then. Maggie Chicken Noodle, cock-a-doodle doodle. That's before you were born, Shellz.
Yes, okay.
So when she looked up and all of us as boys walking were singing that jingle on the radio, the only one that she picked up was the Burgess boy, and she fired a stone and it knocked me on my knee. But I was able to run away from the danger spot. But they can pose threats, and the doctor gave us a lot of useful information as to how we can navigate if we have to interact or come in contact with persons like these. Thank you. And we're joined by a very special guest who is in fact a minister of religion, and he's a youth leader and mentor at the Hope Gospel Assembly. This gentleman is multifaceted. He's also the executive producer and founder of the Word Inspiration podcast.
Nice.
And he's our guest inside of this feature we call Man Chat.
Yes, good morning.
So
Miss Pastor Damian, Scarlett in the building. Morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Bridge 99. How are y'all doing?
Yeah,
we're doing
man.
well.
We're good.
Good to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you for being here in person.
Definitely.
And to share with us in this very important topic, the roles and responsibilities of men in our society.
Yes.
So, if you don't mind,
Sure.
what do you believe are the roles and the responsibilities of men in this or society?
Excellent question, Richie B, that you just asked. In fact, when you think about the role of men just generally, is that men are leaders, We set the example, we set the pace. And so it's very important that, how we see ourselves. And it starts with actually having this kind of identity or recognizing, who we are. And so because of that, we have to paint that kind of picture and have that kind of perspective of what we are called to be. And I think that's where the conversation needs to start or needs to happen, right? We have to start seeing ourselves as contributors to the society as well.
We have a very important role to play.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. And, I mentioned it, well, this is it's like a part 2 of the discussion.
Okay, great.
And something that my generation struggle with, and I don't know if you've heard it, during your experiences with youth. Women.
Yeah.
Do you think women has a part to play in helping us identify our role as men?
Well, definitely, because we all want the society to also be balanced. We're just also coming out of celebration of International Women's Day. And we've been having this discussion about, gender equality and all of this for development. And yes, women do play an important part of our lives, of our society. If we think about, for example, our mothers and our grandmothers, how they have also helped to shape us as young men. And as men overall, you can see that kind of nurture that they provide as well. So that even when as men we become fathers and whether we be adopted fathers or biological fathers, that kind of discipline and that kind of spirit of nutrition or nurturing then is a part of us as men.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm privy to a survey, the results of a survey that was conducted sometime in 2016.
Yes.
More than 77% of the women that were polled agreed with a statement that God intended the man to be the head of the household.
Right.
You're here with us in your capacity as a pastor. Take us to the Bible and help us to prove to our listeners that is actually so.
Well, in the biblical context, and that's an excellent point you just made there, that if we go back to the whole matter of Genesis, God did set up the kind of divine order where he gave man that responsibility, Adam. Even if you take it outside of Genesis as well, if you think about it in a Christian context, men were designed to lead and considered to be, the head of a household. Not saying that in some families in our society today that there are women who lead households, and that's because of the diverse circumstances that are around it, that perhaps there's household where men are not present with the family, so women automatically assume that role. But in the context of Christianity and so on, the divine order that God would have set up, I believe, is that man has that responsibility to lead. And when I say dominate, not to take full control, but to understand what your God-given assignment is as a man. Man must work, so he put Adam in the garden and all of that to work, so he can understand what it means to be a real man. Because we have to understand that as men, we are called to do specific things, right? And we have to know what we are being called to do. I think our society today have not latched on fully to that God-given assignment and God-given purpose. Let me use that word then, purpose as men, right? And I think if more men in our society, not only in Jamaica but across the world, really understood their purpose and their calling, we would see much greater results in our society.
Wow. That's a good point, touching back on the youth, right? Again, I try to advocate on them.
Yeah,
on
definitely.
because I struggle with it. I mentioned it on my show recently, Richie. I said that I had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Ex no, obviously. And and she said that I wasn't man enough.
Yeah.
And that cut me, bro. You understand
Yeah.
me? What does that even mean? How can speak to us, to the young men in our society? What does being man enough mean?
Well, boy, that's a broad statement.
Yeah.
It's a broad statement. But I believe for females, ladies in general, they want, well, when you think about the role of men in society, you think about man being protector, man being provider. Now, we have to be careful with that because you don't want to necessarily see men as only just providing and just give me things, you know. But I believe in the context of our ladies, they want to know that, you know, in relationships especially, that the man is able to man up and to provide that kind of sense of security, so she don't have to feel as if that boy, when she's out or around you, that she doesn't feel safe and secure.
Yeah,
so that's a part of our responsibility. Now, as I said, that statement is broad because what does the man up mean? Is she referring to bills or things around the home or taking charge or saying that, boy, sometimes, you know, you have arguments in relationships.
I wouldn't want to dwell on it too long because next thing you know, Shellz breaks out into tears or something like that on the program.
I don't want that to happen.
We don't want that to happen. But the truth is, if I bring a scenario into the picture, in a situation where the woman is, say, earning 3 or 4 times the man's salary, is it any more difficult for him to man up and to take charge and to have his voice heard in that kind of situation?
Well, you know, the context of our households is very... It's a tricky thing. It's very tricky because it really requires to have conversation. And I think the first part of manning up is having that kind of conversation in the household when you recognize that one partner is also bringing in more income than the other. No, that does not mean, let's say, for example, if the woman is carrying in more money, it's a partnership, it's unity. So there's a place for discussion, but there's also, I believe, a place for respect, because what you find in some households across our society is that perhaps the man, and I'm not saying that the man must get all the super respect and you know, honor the lady, but I mean, if you understand that men were designed to lead, because you can still be bringing in more money as a woman, but still you have all the respect for your husband or your partner, right? So at the end of the day, it has to be a conversation to know how you move forward in this relationship. It's not that, oh, I earn more money than you, so you have to do everything that I say, but that doesn't speak to a divine order of how relationships are to be. Relationships must be built on love and unity, and that's a very important thing to understand as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that men are facing today, and are these challenges hindering us from becoming that man, you know, assuming those roles and responsibilities?
Well, yeah, the number of factors in our society, I believe that that we really need to pay close attention to. If you think about even the young men as well, we need to have more mentors, men and women as well, but men who will take on the responsibility of nurturing and helping a young man who is perhaps on the corner, on the streets or so, and help and bring them under their wings. Because if we have that kind of example, more of that example in our society, then things will start to change in our nation. When you think about crime and violence that is happening, when you look across the board, that there are some families that the whole matter of absentee fathers. Where are the fathers? You know, the fathers are not there. And so therefore, if we had more men owning up to their responsibilities, if we had more men who are seeing the local youth them on the corner, or whether them a smoke or the weed or the bag of party or and all, and I'm not saying that young people must not enjoy themselves, but they need guidance.
True.
So if we can start doing more of that, then we'll help them so that when they become older people, they have all of these discipline inside of them so that they can help to nurture another society as well. Because the reality is that if we want to see the crime and the violence stop in Jamaica, we have to see ourselves as part of the solution. Right? We always talk about the problems. We always say the government need to do this. And government, I will not say the government must not play their part, but you and I as civil servants, you know, you and I as regular citizens of the country, we have a responsibility as well. And if every man will take on a young youth out there, things will be better.
Mentorship is important.
Mentorship is important.
So, in closing, would you say then that the divine order is that the man should be the leader of the household?
Yes, but I want to be careful with that because, as I said, that each household or the construct is different, right? And so, if it is that we have men and women living in those households, then yes, men should take that kind of lead and that kind of responsibility. But it's not void of understanding that you have a partner with you and you are bringing them along as well. So it's not a matter of position and authority and say, me and the man say if you do everything what me have to say, or me says, and I say it go. Really, but a part of that is how you carry yourself and understand that kind of order, because women love when men lead.
Yes.
The women love, they might not even say it or admit it, but they love when they see men lead. Probably them talk about it when they're in their own little groups, you know. And they talk about the kind of manner that they admire and all of that. So it really comes back down to really understanding who you are, your identity, and your purpose as a man. And that is really important if our society is going to grow.
Fantastic. Wish we had more time to talk about this. I want to thank you. Please give my regards to Reverend Peter God,
I will.
which is your senior pastor, right?
Definitely.
And I thank you for coming by. You do have a good active youth engagement at your church, it would seem to.
We do. I mean, COVID has impacted some of that, but we still do online stuff and try our best to keep in contact. Now that things are a little bit different now with our protocols, we will try to see how best we can impact more young people as well.
And the Word Inspiration podcast is still actively
definitely. We're on YouTube, the Word Inspiration. We're also on Instagram, Word Inspiration Podcast. So you can check it out what we do in our own little spare time.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Pastor Damian Scarlett.
No problem.
Good to meet you.
Yes,
thanks. We enjoyed the deliberation this morning.
Yes, and I must say before I go that as a young man growing up, I always hear about Richie B. And today I'm here on the Richie B show. So I give thanks for that.
All right. You might see me in church soon too.
Okay, no problem.
He says no problem. All right, Pastor Damian Scarlett, assistant pastor, youth leader, and mentor at the Hope Gospel Assembly, and also executive producer and founder of the Word Inspiration Podcast. That was
Man Chat.
Looking forward to doing it again next week, Thursday morning at around about the same time. Right now, we have a very special guest with whom we'll be having a conversation. And as I mentioned earlier, she is the chair of the JARIA Honor Awards Committee. And of course, they have a big event every year, which is the Honor Awards. And this morning we have Mayor Issacs as our very special guest. Good morning, Ms. Issacs. How are you?
Good morning, Richie. Good morning to everyone out there in Radio Land. I am well.
Good to hear that. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. For those who are not quite familiar with the Honor Awards that JARIA stages every year, can you provide us with some details on it?
Well, the JARIA Awards recognizes individuals and institutions that have played an instrumental role in the creation, evolution, mentorship, and development of Jamaica's music and its subgenres. We have people in the industry such as musicians and engineers and producers and sound systems that are operators that are referred to as our unsung heroes of our industry because they're not really upfront. So we want to celebrate and highlight their remarkable achievements, commitments, and contributions to the music industry. And this industry, as you know, has penetrated globally. And so JARIA highlights their contribution. And so we have an honor award, and we've been having the awards now since 2009.
And it is fair to say that it has been growing from strength to strength. I would like to add my voice of a word of congratulations to all of the previous winners and all of those awardees for this year. Can you just go through the list and let us know who are some of the honorees this year?
Okay, in the Lifetime Achievement, we have Palmer Records. In mentorship, we have Earl Chinner-Smith. Posthumous, we are doing awards for Hopeton Lewis and Lee Scratch Perry. Engineers, Rowan Dwyer and Paul Barkley. Producers, Tony Kelly and Neil Fraser, they call him the Mad Professor. Sound system, Lloyd Matador and Mighty Crown which, as you know, is out of Japan.
Yes.
Musicians Hux Brown and David Madden. Male artists are, because we have two of them, is Barrington Levy and Jacob Miller. Female artists, J.C. Lodge. Duo group is the Abyssinians. The band is Rough Cut Band out of UK. For the media industry, we have 4 awards this year. Radio Television, Winford Williams. Gospel, Nadine Blair. Rhythm magazine is picking up the print media, and Jamaicas.com is getting this new media. As you know, social media is taken off now. Promoter, we have Linville Gibbons for Teen Splash. The Songwriter Award goes to Mikey Bennett. Gospel Artist Awards, we have 2 of them, Glacia Robinson and Jermaine Edwards. And we have a special award, which is the Gregory Isaacs Foundation Award, which recognizes people in fashion and hair and selectors and album design. And so this year it goes to Neville Garrick. This year also, we're having 3 special Diamond Jubilee Awards in celebration of Jamaica's 60th anniversary of independence. And the recipients for those awards are Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Louise Bennett, and Bob Marley.
Nice, nice. Wow.
In addition to that,
look at that. Yeah, right.
we have a competition going on for the Song of the Year and the Breakthrough Artist of the Year. And the nominees for those categories are Song of the Year, Go Down There by Spice, Shaggy, and Sean Paul, Run, Sincere, Ambition, Yaksta, West Indies for Coffee, Virgin by Ja Vinci, and Lali does Dirty Bounce. So that is for the Song of the Year competition.
Okay.
For the Breakthrough Artist of the Year, it's Skilla Benz, I must say, Yaksta, Diani, Nation Boss, Mom Ann, and Joby J. And the voting is done by visiting our JARIA website at www.jariaentertainment.com, and the deadline for that is midnight on March 19th.
You might want to indicate that it's just those 2 latter categories that voting is actually being accommodated in, right?
Yes, this is the people's choice.
Okay. All right. Wow, Mary, I like this. I like the fact that, it seems like, you guys left no stones unturned. Like, everybody's getting something every category. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
When would the awards be aired, and how can we stay tuned? How can we tune in, Mary?
Okay. Because of COVID, we usually have a red carpet gala, and everybody gets dressed up gala style.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, what we did last year, and we're going to repeat it this year, is we're going to do a pre-recording of the acceptances, and it's more like an edutainment kind of feature. So that is being done right now in March, and sometime in April, and we're targeting the Easter weekend, we will do the broadcast on all social media platforms.
Okay.
Well, as soon as the date has been confirmed and the times and so on, Mary, we'd love to hear back from you so we can share it with our legion of fans and listeners here on the bridge. And I want to wish you and the team at JARIA all the best with their awards this year, and may it continue to grow from strength to strength. Congratulations to all the awardees. I know that Coffee has won the artist. Was it Artist of the Year one year? Was it Mary?
Yes, she's won Artist of the Year. She's won Breakthrough Artist.
Right.
And she's won quite a few awards from us.
I remember also Mortimer, one of the previous winners. And so
yes.
you do have a rich history as it relates to your nominees and the winners and so on. So good luck, and thank you for talking with us this morning. Have a great day.
And thank you for sharing, for giving us the opportunity for us to share this great, exciting story about the Honor Awards.
Thank you, Mary. Have a great day now.
Thank you.
It's now time for us to welcome our two guests, as a matter of fact. The public defender herself is joining us this morning. Good morning, Lady Arlene Harrison Henry.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
I hope the excitement of having you on the program is reflected in our voice this morning.
Absolutely.
Give thanks.
Wonderful to join you as per usual. And also, a gentleman who apparently has been sort of very busy recently, but he's joining us once again today, Herbert McKenzie, the Deputy Public Defender. Good morning.
He's right here with me, but he just stepped out.
Okay.
All right.
For a moment, but he'll return shortly.
Not a problem. I like the direction that we're heading in this morning, Public Defender, because it's a matter of concern, especially to members of the farming community, the drastic increase that we're hearing about in terms of fertilizer. As a matter of fact, in some instances, we're hearing about an average of 40% increase because, if people are wondering, fertilizer like urea, which contains ammonium nitrate, they have experienced more than 100% increase because of the fact that it's a byproduct of petroleum. I want to ask you right at the get-go, what are your views on the drastic increase in for the price of fertilizer going on in our country?
All I can say is that it is going to have the most devastating consequences on the farming community. So, for instance, one day this week, Monday, a friend of mine went down to get a product called Coffeelizer, which is a special fertilizer that has been designed to have all the nutrition that a coffee tree would need. And we saw it was about a 40% increase. So I called the company, and they gave me a lot of reasons for this increase, including the cost of bringing in materials, the shipping cost, the cost of the ingredients. But it's going to have a bag now of 110 pounds. It's sold for $12,120, up from $8,000 plus. The $8,000 price continued certainly in the earlier part of January of this year. Fact of the matter is, and I can speak a little bit more about the coffee industry because I have a lot of friends in that line of business. It's going to strangle coffee farmers. So I say all of that to say, we heard Minister Clark speaking about the gas tax and that what is derived from it would be utilized to help other industries and vulnerable groups. And through this program, I am saying, or OPD saying, that farmers is a vulnerable group. Richie, do we remember this premium product called Blue Mountain Coffee? Mm-hmm. You know who produces it? It's the small farmers. Mm-hmm. It is about 80% of Blue Mountain Coffee that is exported.
Yes.
Is grown, nurtured, cultivated, brought to fruition by small farmers. So people have acre, 2 acre, and what we call yard coffee. You know, those trees you have around your yard? Yes. It is those farmers that are going to have the real problem in keeping up production, which is already low because we are not producing at the maximum of, say, 80 boxes per acre. We're in the Blue Mountain. We're producing about 30 boxes per acre. So the farmers were already in a bad place. And we're really hoping that some of this gas tax and the windfall of the gas tax will come to small farmers. In particular, I'm sure there are other farming interests that may involve medium-sized and large farmers that may also have needs. But we're just saying, bear in mind that we have these small farmers who were already struggling with fertilizer at $8,000 a box. And how now will they meet this 12,000 plus?
Yes. It is a major problem, and I'm happy that you're highlighting it. And, you know, we really reach out and we empathize with the members of the farming community, especially those coffee farmers out there. You know, I wanted to ask you, though, is there another sort of sustainable way to fertilize our soil, even as we face these increases that we've been talking about?
Well, you know, this is an ongoing debate. There are persons in the industry who farm organically, and they say that their yields can be just as high as someone who uses these fertilizers. And I believe that this may be a discussion that we're going to have and have in a more serious way. Because when I saw the price of the one bag of this product, I said to myself, well, is there some other way that we can feed our trees adequately, organically, and do without this component? And I think that those persons who farm organically are going to have to meet with the other farmers to see how we can reduce our dependence on imported fertilizer. But you know, Richie, notwithstanding this problem, I have been thinking that whilst Jamaica has many problems, the solutions to the problem are not beyond us. They are not beyond our capacity to conquer them. And it occurred to me that if, for instance, we look at housing and the occupation of land, I heard Prime Minister Holness at a function where they were either giving out titles for land or was it housing? I don't recall. And he said something which struck a chord in me, and it was this: if you are on government land, come to us and let us see how we can title you or regularize you. Do not wait until we have to come to you. And I think that for the sections of the Jamaican community, without some piece of paper for their land, including like a tax paper or a pre-check survey diagram that will be recorded at Survey Department, people need to start to take proactive steps in identifying how they can get titles, registered titles, for the land upon which they do not. So when you come to OPD, for argument's sake, having been on a parcel of land for 30 years and the generation before you for 30 years, and we say to them, have you been paying taxes? No, ma'am. What have you done to secure your being on this land? The original owner did give my father. Okay, you have anything to show us that? The point I make, Richie, is that you cannot be on a piece of land and you don't look about how you are going to try and get a registered title. Are you? And I'm not suggesting that people run on people's land and squat. Not at all. But if you are on a parcel of land for all these many years, have you tried to find the owner? Have you tried to enter into any discussions with the owner's family? Say the original owner died. Have you taken any steps to see, can I buy this land? Can it be on lease and sale? How do I secure myself and my family on this parcel of land?
And those are
we can't just sit down and fold our hand, you know.
no, those are
And then
very
the people come and put me off the land.
yeah. Those are pertinent questions that you're putting forward. You know, Shellz, you also wanted to jump in on the conversation.
Yes. Hi, morning again, Madam Public Defender. Shellz here. So you know, we were speaking about, you know, the rise in fertilizer prices. What I know the farmers don't like to hear is, you know, it's almost like we're just acknowledging that there's a rise in the prices, but there's like no solutions. Are we supposed to just expect that the farmers just like deal with it or find a way to deal with it? Is there any way that they'll be able to survive these steady rising prices?
Well, you see, I think the problem in the farming community is multifaceted. And that is why I had recommended that some of the gas tax windfall could come to the farming community. We have several other problems relative to marketing of a specialty coffee, such as Blue Mountain coffee, which is what it is. We have rising prices of coffee on the international market, because you would know that the Brazilian crop, and they being the largest producers of coffee, their crop suffered tremendously in the last season with frost and rain and flood. So the coffee prices are going up on the international market. And we need to make sure that that increase we get the benefit of as Jamaicans who produce certainly amongst the finest coffee in the world. But it is the gas tax that we are looking at. And because it's an immediate identifiable source.
Are you hearing talk of any subsidies being offered to the farming community?
Yeah.
Not so far.
Okay.
We have heard some discussion about $1 billion being contemplated, or certainly it has been raised. I'm not saying that government has decided to offer that. But what I'm saying is, whatever is done, we have to remember that 80% of the exportable Blue Mountain coffee is produced by small farmers, not large farmers. And therefore, they ought to be the center of attention. And there are ways, I have thought of some ways whereby you can offer money to farmers for the purpose of improving production, maximizing production per tree, per acre, and it is not a gift. So I'm thinking of something like a revolving loan that comes back in a common pool that is held in trust for the community.
Well, I tell you, I really want to thank you for putting this on the table this morning, in the interest of the farming community especially. And we certainly hope that a way is found that will provide some relief. Because on the other end too, public defender, if we continue to have these high prices for fertilizer, that might also impact the price that we pay for food items, ground provisions, and so on as we go along, eh?
Yes, we can only hope, Mr. Burgess,
yes,
that when the Minister of Agriculture comes to make his contribution to the budget debate, he may develop on any of these plans or expectations that we might have with respect to subsidy for farmers.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you so much for chipping in at the tail end with that very important point, Herbert McKenzie. I thank you, and I thank the public defender, Arlene Harrison Henry, for a wonderful program as usual. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
You too, and thank you for having us.
Our pleasure as always.
Richie B, the party master, on Up and Go, The Bridge, 99 FM.